Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We have a lot of topics here because this is going to be probably my last video for today. I'm planning on going for a swim and have a little beautiful end of the weekend. But I'm working as well. I might be doing a video where I'm going to go too. So nevertheless, I'm going to have here about, I would say, 8 or 9 topics. Very important developments, starting with the fact that the Russians expelled 6 what they call British spies from the embassy. That's one. The other one, we talk about the Abrams tanks, the American famous Abrams A1 tanks, and supposedly the tanks were not ready for war. But hey, the Ukrainians fixed them. How they fixed them? It's a joke. Okay, next one. If you can't beat them, you join them, correct? And that is about IMF, International Monetary Fund, who's gonna try to join BRICS. Why? They're gonna find out, and the Europeans are angry about it because the Americans, it seems like they have an understanding with Russia, and then does not include the Europeans. I said this before because I always let a little door open for the possibility of the Americans and the Russians being talking at a different level and everybody else is left to the side. I mean, after all, Russia never considered the European Union a force. Why? Because first, they are not united. There are too many countries and they're at the orders of the United States of America. Therefore, when you're going to have, as Lavrov said, when you're going to have an independent foreign policy, then we're going to talk to you. Militarily, again, they're not united. So that's not for the Russians. That's all right. Next one. Russia repels, and it's on an how do you call that, offensive in Kursk. It seems like they liberated about 10 settlements in the past days, and the Ukrainians are taking their troops from one side of the Kursk region going back to the front where things are bad, like Pokrovsk. Next one. It's a counteroffensive, by the way. We have an imbecile, or some experts, full of these experts from the Telegraph, who says that Russia is unlikely to recapture much of land seized by Ukraine in Kursk. So these imbeciles tell us that the Russians will just live like this, will not be able to push those guys back. Unlikely. It's unlikely to recapture. I mean, who wrote that? Jacob Friedland, okay, you got me, and Joe from Joseph or Joseph. So, okay, nevertheless, who wrote that article? And the experts over there, they're baboons, but we're full of them. And they write for the Telegraph. We have here the spies that I'm going to give you the names of what the Russians claim. They're spies that tried to start doing some garbage in Russia. Let's see what's next. We got the 10 settlements. Not only in Kursk, the Russians' counteroffensive is successful so far, according to the Russians, and not only. The other one in Pokrovsk in Donetsk, they are continuing. And we have another one in the Dnipro River in Kherson. If you remember, the Ukrainians, indeed, which I doubted very much, but even right now I doubt because this comes from the Ukrainians, not from the Russians. Supposedly the Ukrainians, if you remember I think about only a year ago, crossed the Dnipro River in Kherson in the south by Crimean Peninsula. They crossed on the left bank of the Dnipro River, so towards the east, on the other side. And now the Russians are kicked them back, and situation is aggravating. So we have north, which is Kursk. These guys are going to push them back. If you want, you have Kupiansk area. Again, the Russians are going to encircle them. I'm going to show you maps. And then we have Pokrovsk, bad situation over there in Donetsk. And we have in Kherson, by the Dnipro River, situation bad. Next one, Shoigu, the former defense minister of the Russian Federation, meets the woodchuck, who is Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I wonder why. We're going to discuss that one. And we have something that my Polish friends disliked very, very much. Some of you guys, my Polish friends. Whenever I mention that Poland will take what it rightfully thinks is theirs, which is the western part of Ukraine with Lviv, Lvov and others, when I mentioned that the Poles are waiting, not because the Russians are saying it. I know more than these guys are claiming about, oh, the Russians say the Poles want to take that. It's obvious the Poles want to take many things from many countries surrounding Poland. Not only Ukraine. Ukraine is an opportunity. Now, this could be a, how do you call that, confirmation, or help me tell you again, you guys gonna get part of Ukraine. Congratulations. And why? Because Poland's Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski is somewhere in Ukraine meeting somebody in Ukraine in a certain city that I already mentioned. You can make shit up. It's obvious. It's too simple. Too easy, man. Let's start with the first one, with the spies. Or the spies. Here it is. Sputnik. Russia's security service received evidence of UK's coordination of escalation of global situation. Coordination, escalation, situation. Okay, good job. So what do we have here? The UK, the British, have an Eastern Europe and Central Asia directorate. Do you know that? So they have a directorate in Eastern Europe and Central Asia to try to, according to the Russians, coordinate subversive policies against the former countries like Georgia and Armenia in the former CIS countries. The Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation has received documentary materials confirming London's coordination of the escalation of the international military political situation. The documents show that the Eastern Europe and Central Asia Directorate has become the main unit to coordinate the implementation of subversive policies in Russia and the post-Soviet countries. The statement said the directorate was transformed after the start of Russia's special military operation in Ukraine into a special service, the main task of which is to inflict a strategic defeat of Russia. Now, the statement read, if you believe this, good. If you don't, that's fine. Now, British embassy staff in Russia deprived of their accreditation due to intelligence and subversive work have been shown on the TV. Let's go back to where we belong. You wanna fuck off? How about that one? Russia 24. And we have the names right here and the faces of these guys. Look at this guy. How old are you? 12 or something? This guy's like 18. She's like 13. She's like 25. She is, oh my God, drunken orgy. And this guy's like, oh my God, they caught me. All right, so that's what it is. Let's go to the next one. Russia Today, 13th of September. Russia expels 6 British diplomats. UK embassy staff has been engaged in, quote-unquote, subversive activities, the FSB claims. You see, that's why these guys, Russia Today or Sputnik, are still following the, how should I put it, journalistic terms. They claim. It doesn't mean that that's the way it is. They claim. Russia has revoked the accreditation of 6 British diplomats it claims, again, have been involved in espionage. And here it is. Documents confirming London's coordination of the escalation of the international military political situation. Subversive policies. Right there again. They talk about Eastern Europe and Central Asia Directorate, EECAD. Check that out. And this is what it is. So, intelligence and subversive, poop. And you can read that one. So, maybe we can go. Let's see if we can. Russia revokes accreditation. So, let's see. Of 6 embassy members. So, the same are here. We have any names here? All right. This is what is the propaganda channel. I don't care if it's the propaganda. Is it true? I want to see the names. Jessica Davenport, Grace Elvin, Andrew Callum, Catherine MacDonald, Thomas Hickson, and Blake Patel. I can tell you who Blake Patel is with accuracy. That's Blake Patel. Guarantee you. Hey, Blake. Blake. Remember that little meme used to be on Facebook with that teacher? Blake. Yeah, what's your name? Blake. Oh, Blake. You're saying the Blake Patel. And Patel, another joke with that guy in California that he had the 7-Eleven, I think, put that classical music to stand the homeless around. And yes, Mr. Patel. It was just a meme. Patel. Yeah, Motherfuckers get a job. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about the great American. Oh, what's going on? Antennas? Yeah. How the Ukrainians fixed the screwed up American tanks that were sent to Ukraine. Here it is. US tanks weren't ready for Russian attacks. Ukraine has a fix. Now, this is the fix. That's a cage. That's a cage. So it's not an electronic device or anything that could figure out. That's against the drones, by the way. So these beautiful tanks are vulnerable to $20,000 drones because they can't detect them. Their radars or whatever they have, they can't detect it, or if they can detect it, they cannot shoot them down. So what they did, they put a cage, man, with nails, bam, 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 and like screws and the chisels, carving around, and duct tape. Unbelievable, man. And this is the fix. And they're proud of themselves. This comes from the Hill. They're proud of themselves. Right here. Has a fix. I can't kid you, man. The American-made M1 Abrams is considered one of the world's premier tanks, yet has still proven vulnerable to Russian drones. Of course it's vulnerable. Anything is vulnerable. Only baboons that watch movies from Hollywood with whatever those guys, special Marvel garbage, believe that a woman will beat the guy over there, or believe that those guys only those movies. And then you have one challenging you on the street and you just do bang and she's knocked out or something. I mean, I've seen videos. I don't approve of this message. I'm just saying, observation. Jesus Christ, man. Right there, still proven. And explosives on the battlefield in Ukraine, which has sidelined the armored behemoth, or what, I don't know, behemoth. So they sidelined it. They say, take it out, don't use it. But Ukraine has now improved. That's the improvement. God damn it, man. The Abrams better protecting it through a relatively simple method. Steel cage wrapped with duct tape around the frame. God, this got put me in a better mood today. I mean, please look at that. I mean, it's true. You have to be pragmatic. But what does that tell you about the tank? It's a drone. You don't have a radar to see the drone coming and something automatic. You don't even need to have a person with getting out and put a little fucking shit over there that coordinates with the radar and the Jesus. God damn, man. Alright, you can't beat them, join them. IMF, International Monetary Fund, located in in Washington, D.C., right? Or in New York, where? Anyway, what do? They want to infiltrate BRICS because BRICS has a bank that lends money, and they can't let that happen. That's why you have France trying to participate in BRICS sessions. Is a Trojan horse, like Turkey wants to get in. So then it can be a Trojan horse. It's going to have a bazaar negotiating chip. That's what it is. And IMF oozes in and then takes over, like narcissistic people. First they're all nice and I love you, you're so interesting, you're fantastic, oh my God, you're so smart, you're so strong, and after about 3 months, don't do this, I want to do this. Why? If you let them do it, they will crawl over your head. And that's why you have to not even get involved with this kind of people. The same here. Don't involve with this kind of people. Enhanced international economic cooperation, and I'm quoting, should be welcomed and encouraged. A spokeswoman has said BRICS expansion should be encouraged. Julie Kozak, a spokeswoman for the International Monetary Fund, told journalists on Friday, speaking in response to a question about Turkish plans to join the group. Yeah, Türkiye will be a little Trojan horse, plans to join the group. She added that growth of the group could be beneficial globally. What are you talking about? It's like this. This is the bank. An International Monetary Fund is a bank that comes in, tells the country what to do, what to implement if they want to receive the money. That is, you gotta put this person over there. You gotta do this reform. You gotta do this. You put the country through a shock, like for instance, Milei puts Argentina right now, or they put Romania back then in 1990, even though they didn't touch it because there were some other issues over there. So and after that, they take over. The country defaults, cannot pay, and they take the assets that the country used as collateral, and they get from nothing just some numbers, which is the money. They don't have gold or anything. Money, numbers. From some numbers, they get the properties. The same with the bank. The bank is going to lend you money. Numbers. They don't have the money. They don't have the money. Why? A bank, can lend you 10 times more than they have or they don't have. Right? So they lend you the money on the 1,000, how much you want. All right? And then you have to vouch with some collateral, which could be, I don't know, your car, which is usually, it's not an asset. The car is a liability. But let's say you vouch with another property, and you can't pay for this loan. They're going to get your property. So from money on the buttons on the screen, they own a finite product built by people with sweat, intelligence, and all that. Why? Because they had some money and they have an authorization to be a bank. And some people put some money together, put $1,000, and they can lend $10,000. Can you do that? No, why not? So the same thing with BRICS. These guys are happy. So I'm the only bank, let's say in the neighborhood. That means I have the monopoly of all these imbeciles. So let's say I have that. Am I happy that a competing bank forms? Of course not. I'm not happy whatsoever because I have to compete with the rates, interest rates, and services. Right now I can treat everybody like garbage. What are you gonna do? You have to deal with me only here. Like I had before I, bought, let's say, a house. They said, oh, I want internet. It was only one provider for the area. One. In America the Great. And I called those guys and say, oh, thank you very much for choosing our services. Motherfuckers, these were the only ones available in the new neighborhood. But hey, when another one showed, immediately started competing and the price went and the services went better. The same here. They're beneficial globally, like they care about the people, basically. We care about the people. The world will have more money because another bank comes and takes the chunk of opportunities. Imbecilic. Move on. EU countries concerned about IMF plans to resume cooperation with Russia, calling it economic aid to Putin. Yeah, because they lost. So remember, these imbeciles right here. A number of European countries are concerned about their decision, head of the International Monetary Fund, to plan engage with Russia for the first time since its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. That means they lost. IMF was part of the guys who wanted to hang Russia and Putin, and they couldn't. And now they come and say, hey, you know what? How about we do some business here? And Putin should say, yeah, you know what? Why don't you go that way? And I will target practice a little bit. All right? But make sure you go in zigzag. No, it's only business. No, it's not only business. You want to hang me in my country, and now you come to do business with me? Beat it, Michael Jackson. All right, so that's exactly what it is. What do you think the Russians should do? Well, take the opportunity, but keep the narcissistic far. But it's hard because the narcissistic is like snot. It sticks on you. You have to. You can't. Anyway, sorry for this. Nevertheless, let's see how the Russians are pushing these imbeciles in Kursk. Imbeciles are not the Ukrainians. Imbeciles are the ones who think that they can beat Russia. Whomever those are. Sputnik. Russia repels fools' crusade in Kursk region as Ukraine redeploys troops to Donbass. Got that? All right. This is an analysis, so it's his analysis of the situation. That's why I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to go into the next one, which is a statement, from Semaphore. Kremlin launches counteroffensive to push Ukrainian forces out of Russia, and they will do it. Look at this guy. I want to be seen. Yeah. Russia has launched a significant counteroffensive to push Ukrainian forces out of Kursk, the southern border region which was partially occupied by Ukraine last month. Correct. So, next one. Russia unlikely to recapture much of land seized by Ukraine in Kursk. This is an imbecile. Story by Kieran Kelly, Jacob Friedland, Joe, this is Joseph probably, Barnes, and so on. So these guys, 3 tanks. Tank. The same subject. All right, interesting. Russia is unlikely to reclaim much of the land that Ukraine has seized in its cross-border raid into Kursk. Western officials have said. Why? All right. Ukrainian forces have moved into a defensive position, a Western official said. They currently occupy 820, I think it was 1,000 kilometers. That means they lost, that is, Russian army ousted Ukrainian troops from 10 settlements in Kursk region. And again, no tank here. That's great. You're too clean to be in a war, man. Whenever I look at these guys, and they have these kind of pictures, I looked at their gloves or the helmets, because your hand, if it's dirty, in a war, the weapon, how worn they are. And if they're not worn, they're not dusty or around here, you put your goggles on or you adjust something, that should be, you take your helmet, that should be, because your hands, obviously you use a lot of things, with your hands, you pop. So when you touch things and you touch the regular, it should be dirty. None of them. Like his mouth cover, I'm going to show you, that has no dust, but supposedly he's over there directing an missile system, or right here. That's black. Now, when you breathe in sand or in dust, that is because of humidity that comes from your nose and your mouth. With the dust, that sticks. So here should be all white. Do you know that? Well, why don't you? Oh, you've never been involved in something like this? Well, get a book, man. Anyway, just kidding. So, again, look at this picture. This is a... I mean, look at that. That's an explosion over there. This is what it is. This is firing. This is, he stands behind. All that dust comes over here. He inhales it. And when we exhale, humidity comes out of our lungs. Again, no, he's impeccable. Good for him. All right. So let's see what we have here. In the course of the offensive actions by units of battle group, I'm quoting, Sever, within 2 days, settlements were liberated. The Ministry of Defense stated. Now, where is this located? Right here. This is what I'm talking about, Kursk, this area. Yes, these guys invaded. Yes, these guys, and you can see here, little bulge in. So this is where these are, but it's you can go around in a pinching move here. So they are trying probably to cut him in half. I don't know. We'll see. This looks like Africa, doesn't it? The whole thing here. All right, let's go back to where we belong. So this is what they say. 10 settlements. Next one. Ukrinform. Situation aggravating on the Dnipro left bank. Most of the Russian infantry attacks take place in the Pridniprovsk sector. A greater number of combat clashes, so-called infantry attacks, take place precisely in the, as I said, sector where Ukrainian forces continue to hold bridgeheads on the left bank of the Dnipro River. Today, from the beginning of the day at 1600, which is 4 p.m., 2 assaults took place. Yesterday, there were 7 assaults throughout the day, and during the last week, a total of 60 assaults were reported, and the name was Situation Aggravating. When these guys tell you that it's aggravating, that tells me it's already done. It's like 90% we're about to out of here. Why? Experience. I've seen this many, many times in the same words used. The enemy is making significant efforts to occupy the gray zone on the so-called islands and the area which is cut by straits mouth of the Dnipro. I'm going to show you the map. Various water obstacles on the left bank of the river. There, combat operations are somewhat complicated as they need boats and jet skis. All right, let's see where that is. Ram pam pam. We go from Kursk to south. Pam pam. So this is the Dnipro River going like cutting like this. All right, and here is where these guys are fighting. This area, right here. This is where they, by Kakhovka in this way. Sorry, this is the area where they are fighting. And look, the Russians allowed, you see they show this piece over here belonging to the Ukrainians. So the main, this is where it happens, because see the Dnipro river goes like that, the main arm of it, and this belongs, it's a little shitty arm over there or whatever it is, so that belongs to Ukraine. So this is the area, I'm going to show you in the big scheme of things. This is Kherson, this is Crimean Peninsula, this is the Black Sea, this is the weasel country of Romania, this is the fake country of Moldova, this is Romanian territory, and this is whatever this is, and here is Lviv, and here you have Poland. We're gonna leave it like this because we're gonna come back to this area. Next one. Shoigu meets with King Jong in North Korea. There you have it. What do you think this guy meets over there? Russia Security Council said Friday's meeting between Shoigu and Kim took place uniquely trusting and friendly atmosphere, with ladies of the night and Dennis Rodman playing basketball with the woodchuck. So the two countries have been allies since North Korea fought the World War II and have drawn even closer since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 is isolated Putin on the global stage. Putin is not isolated on the global stage. I think the United States of America is more isolated than Putin. Why? Because Putin is isolated only in the vassal states of Al Capone, which is some countries of Europe, some countries, I'm going to name them, South Korea, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and then you go Canada, you go United States of America, and most of Europe. That's about it. But all that is no more than 50 countries. Let's say 40. 40, I can give you 50. I'm going to give you because I'm kind. All right, I like to be kind, as you can tell. 50 countries. Now, you know how many countries are on this planet? Not 51 with Russia. No. There are 193 or sometimes 194. So let's be, again, kind, be conservative and give you the forehand, not the foreplay. 193. So if we subtract 193, we subtract 15, they would get us to, hey, 143 countries. You take Russia out of it, I'm sorry, you get to what? 142. So 142 is 3 times bigger than the 50 that I gave you. So is Putin isolated? I don't think so. Now, what other countries will accept the Americans come over unless they come with money or with guns? Russia doesn't have to do that. It comes only with money. Anyway, so let's go to the last one. So my Polish friends, I'm so happy to report this to you. Why? Because I will show you, I have some conversations with some Poles, and they say, no, Poland doesn't want western part of Ukraine. No, we don't want that. Ask Poles. I know better than you. I know why. Because Poland is very frustrated with its current borders. Don't tell me that. They think, like Hungary and many other countries, and Romania too, that their borders, their country, should be bigger. So obviously, they all want from other countries surrounding their country, their territories. Why? Because if you look, and I'm not going to go further, or I'm just going to one example. Go and look at the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. About what? 18th century, so 1700s, I think it was 1600s, 1700s, that way. Before Poland was destroyed in 1790 some, it ceased to exist as a country until the end of the First World War, when it was again created, right? So it was no country, Poland, between those. There was some duchy, pop, but nothing else. And then look at the Commonwealth, and you're going to find out the Commonwealth. And I'm going to show you the map because we're so kind here. We are involved in kindness, right? So here's Poland. Lithuania is right there. You don't see it. It's right here somewhere in there. So all this had this part of Ukraine or Russia, or like this. My hand goes right here. So all this chunk right here, and sometimes they attack the Moldovans too here, the Romanians. They had access to the Black Sea. So from sea to sea, I guess, from the North Sea or whatever, Baltic Sea, from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. They were having this. This is Poland. From here, all this belonged to Poland and Lithuania. But they don't want it back. But they have memories with Lviv, Lvov, which is this part right here. you see, including Lutsk. They will go how much they can. So this is their minority, the people. Always you have minorities at the borders. So you have Romanians minority here, you have Hungarian minorities, you have Slovak minority, you have Polish minorities, you have them here. You have, obviously Russians everywhere here. So these guys will want to take this part. And if they're allowed to take this one, they will take it. They will take this one, they will. The problem is they're going to get too many Ukrainians in their country, which could stabilize the political system and economic system and Polish national interest or hegemony. Not hegemony, I'm sorry, homogeneity. New Voice of Ukraine. Poland's Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski meets with Lviv mayor in Ukraine. So you can say, well, doesn't prove shit. My friends, let's don't play full retards here. All right? And by the way, our ancient Greeks, one of the big, how do you call it, virtues was patient, right? Patient. So patience is still a value. Wait, this is one. And then as the Russians will break the front, as I said many times before, Poland will invade with its own troops, claiming they will save lives and protect their minority living in the areas of West Ukraine. I will cut my balls off if... You'll see. We'll see. And everybody will be for saving lives because the Russian hordes are coming from the east again. Not the Soviets, the Russians this time. You'll see. And everybody's going to say, oh, euphemistically, we're going to save lives. Yes, let's go. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you. Poland's Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski meets with Lviv mayor. So he goes to the town I mentioned. You can say, well, Emil, you make wrong connections. All right. Time. Give it time. So this guy goes to Lviv, right here. Right here. The mayor. Why do you go to a mayor of a Ukrainian town? Mayor of a Ukrainian town. Why don't you go over there and say, hello, people of Ukraine living in this area that we don't want? No, he goes to talk to a politician. So the mayor of Lviv. My friends, I know you don't like what I'm saying, some of you, but doesn't really matter. I think I'm right, and time will tell. Let's see what this guy wants to do. Now he's going to say, well, probably some love right here. See, destructions. He's very concerned with Lviv destruction, and he talks with this Polish guy too, and so on. But it's okay. That's their territory. After meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken today, Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski visited Ukraine. Right after this, was he given the green light to go and smell a little bit the scent of Lviv? I don't know. Sikorski also met with Lviv Mayor Andriy Sadov, and together they laid flowers at a memorial plaque honoring victims of the Russian missile attack. Beautiful. The day before, Blinken and British Foreign Minister David de Lamy, because he's French, also visited Ukraine. Blinken later traveled to Warsaw to... And that's about it. My friends, I told you already what I think about Lviv, the Poles, and the balls. And that's what's going to be. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Time will tell. Time will tell. And if I will be wrong, which I think I am about 2% wrong, and I think I'm 98% right. If I'm going to be right, then I will tell you I was right. But if I will be wrong, I will tell you I was wrong. What the hell? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.